Jake and Marcus both have exactly $50,000 saved. They earn the same salary, and they live in the same city. From this identical starting line, they are about to run a 20-year financial experiment by taking completely different paths. Jake takes his $50,000 and uses it as a 20% down payment on a $250,000 rental property. He takes out a mortgage, finds a tenant, and officially becomes a landlord. Marcus drops his entire $50,000 into a total stock market index fund. He sets up an automatic contribution of $300 a month and decides to never think about it again. On day one, Jake has a physical house, a tenant, and a tangible asset to talk about at dinner parties. Marcus just has a confirmation email and a number on a screen. Jake feels like he is winning by a mile, but feelings and math are very different things. Both of them think they made the smartest choice. To see who actually wins, we have to track what happens to their money and their time over the next 2 decades to find their true return on effort. Let's look at Jake's real estate math. His tenant pays $1,800 a month, and his mortgage is roughly $1,330. On a napkin, that looks like $470 a month in pure profit. This chart breaks down what actually happens to that rent check. Before Jake pockets a single dollar, he owes about $3,000 a year for property taxes and another $1,500 for landlord insurance. Then the physical reality of owning a building hits: a leaking roof repair, a $1,200 water heater replacement, and a single month of vacancy between tenants completely erode that napkin math. Over 3 years, his actual net cash flow is closer to $3,000 total, not the $16,000 he originally projected. Marcus, meanwhile, hasn't generated a single dollar of immediate cash flow. His index fund doesn't send him a rent check to spend. But he has also spent exactly 0 hours answering phone calls, coordinating weekend repairs, or chasing down late payments. Real estate is routinely sold as passive income, but the numbers show it operates as an active, part-time job. It is a business that demands continuous injections of your time and capital just to keep the asset functioning. Despite the heavy workload, Jake has one massive structural advantage: 5-to-1 leverage. He used $50,000 to control a $250,000 asset. But leverage requires taking on huge debt, creating severe concentration risk. His outcome relies entirely on one physical structure. Because it is a physical structure, major components expire. Roofs last 20 to 25 years. Water heaters last 10. These are not unpredictable strokes of bad luck. They are guaranteed capital expenditures that will eventually cost him $5,000 to $15,000 at a time. He can hire a property manager to handle the stress, but giving up 10% of his rent destroys his profit margin. So he self-manages, trading his weekends and lunch breaks to screen tenants and coordinate repairs. By using the bank's money, real estate mathematically accelerates equity. You pay for that acceleration with physical labor, high stress, and an asset that is incredibly difficult to liquidate. Now let's look at Marcus's side of the scorecard. By automating a $300 monthly contribution into an index fund, his wealth grows on a curve. The compounding gains eventually generate more wealth than his actual contributions, requiring exactly 0 hours of his time. He has extreme liquidity. He can sell a fraction of his portfolio on a Tuesday morning directly from his phone, and he never has to budget for a catastrophic plumbing emergency. The catch is volatility. To capture the historical averages of the stock market, Marcus has to be willing to watch his net worth evaporate in real time. Look at this NYSE display tracking March 20th, 2020. In a matter of weeks, the broader market dropped roughly 34%. If Marcus had $150,000 sitting in his account, he would have watched over $50,000 disappear over the course of a single month. When that happens, human nature takes over. Most retail investors panic, hit sell, and lock in massive, permanent losses right at the bottom, rather than holding on for the recovery. Index funds demand absolutely nothing from your physical schedule, but they require ironclad psychological resilience to survive terrifying market drops without acting. Let's run the clock to the end. Fast forward 20 years to see exactly where both men stand. This chart maps their net worth over 2 decades. Jake's property equity sits around $450,000, earned through hundreds of hours of manual labor. Marcus lands in the exact same spot. Through decades of compounding, his portfolio also hits $450,000, achieved without sacrificing a single weekend. Here is where the math radically diverges. If Marcus simply increases his automated contribution by just $200 more a month, compounding pushes his final portfolio up by well over $100,000. In real estate, you can't easily scale by adding small monthly increments. To significantly jump your returns, you have to buy an entirely new property, take on another heavy mortgage, and double your tenant workload. Since the 20-year financial outcomes end up remarkably close, the deciding factor is not the mathematical return. It is the lifestyle cost you are willing to pay to achieve it. Aligning your money comes down to answering one question. Do you want a side business? If yes, real estate provides a massive ceiling with tax shelters and leverage. If no, you must pass the next test. Can you stomach a third of your net worth vanishing? If you are a time-poor professional who values geographic freedom and liquidity, the stock market is your only path, but it requires the emotional discipline to hold your positions when panic sets in. Financial success doesn't come from discovering a flawless asset class. It comes from looking at the unvarnished trade-offs and deliberately picking the specific hardship you are uniquely equipped to endure. Jake and Marcus both started their journeys assuming they possessed the smartest wealth-building strategy. They were both wrong, because neither of them mapped out what the full 2 decades would cost them in time, stress, and hidden expenses. Committing hundreds of thousands of dollars to an investment because of a podcast clip, a YouTube thumbnail, or a bragging relative is a dangerous game. These newspaper headlines prove that no asset is a guaranteed safe haven. Whether you hold physical housing or broad market equities, severe macroeconomic shocks can and will threaten your capital. You have to run the real numbers for your exact situation. Factor in your zip code, your salary, and critically, the actual dollar value of your free time on a Saturday afternoon. The next time someone tells you that real estate always wins or that index funds always win, ask them one simple question. Did you include everything? Because the answer that includes everything is the only one that matters.